Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing fine. My name is Moinak and this is the part 2 of a 4-part series of WBPSC Assistant Engineer Civil 2012 paper. I have tried my best to explain the solution in details and also the connected question and answers that might be asked from a particular question is also discussed in this video. And if you're new to this channel and if you like the content of the video, do subscribe and share this video with your friends who are preparing for civil engineering government exams. So without wasting any more time, let's start with the questions. The first question is Indian standard for acceptable limit of arsenic is. Now the Indian standard for acceptable limit is 0.01 milligram per liter for arsenic and the uh, permissible limit for arsenic is 0.05 milligram per liter. Now there are two limits in Indian standards. One is the acceptable limit and the other is the permissible limit. Now only in absence of alternate sources of water the acceptable limit is relaxed to permissible limit only if there are no other sources of water. So for iron the acceptable limit is 0.3 milligram per liter and the permissible limit does not have any relaxation. In case of fluoride, the acceptable limit is 1 milligram per liter and permissible limit is 1.5. For nitrate, it is 45 milligram per liter in both cases. And for arsenic, you already know. And the acceptable limit is 6.5 to 8.5, and there are no relaxations for permissible limit. The next question is theodolite is an instrument used for measuring. Theodolite is an instrument used for measuring both horizontal as well as vertical angles. The answer should be C. Also, a connected question from theodolite is what is the least count of theodolite? The answer is 20 seconds. And also, the least count of prismatic compass. You should know this. The least count of prismatic compass is 30 minutes. The next question, while submitting the tender, the contractor is supposed to deposit some amount with the department as guarantee of this tender, which is known as. The answer should be earnest money. The answer should be earnest money. Now let's go into details about the earnest money and security money. Now, earnest money is the amount paid by bidder in required form as a security for not backing from his or her tender before its acceptance or refusal to execute the work after it has been awarded to him or her. Generally, it is 2% of the estimated cost of project. Also, what is security money? Security money is the amount the contractor has to deposit to the owner before awarding the work after tendering work, and this is around 5 to 10% of the total cost of project. Also, this money is refunded after the completion of project, but if the owner does not find the work satisfactory, this amount is not refunded to the contractor. This amount is not refunded to the contractor if the owner is not satisfied with the work. Next question is an external corner. An external corner in brick masonry is called the answer should be coin. The answer should be coin. The external corner in a brick masonry is called coin. Now let's look into the other options as well. Squint brick. A squint brick is a brick cut or molded to an oblique angle. It actually allows the brickwork to turn through 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, etc. Also jam. Jam are related to doors and door frames. Closer. Closer is a piece of brick cut lengthwise. Closer is a piece of brick cut lengthwise. Now a special type of closer is known as a queen closer, which is a brick of normal length and thickness but half the normal width. So the next question is a closed contour line with one or more lower value contours inside. Now, what are contour lines? Contour lines are lines joining points of equal elevation. Contour lines are lines joining of equal elevation. So, in this is a contour line. This is represents a contour line, and all the points over here has an elevation of 84 meters. In this particular case, and in this case, it is 82 meters. All these points have equal elevation. So the question asked here is a closed contour line with one or more lower values inside. So the value decreases inwards. The value decreases inwards. In this case, it is a valley. And if the values increases inwards, then it would be known as a hillock or a hill. The next question is according to Lacey's theory, the silt supporting eddies are generated from. Now, according to Lacey, silt is kept in suspension. Silt is kept in suspension by the vertical component of eddies generated at all points of forces normal to the wetted perimeter. So, according to Lacey, the eddies are created by the bottom as well as the sides of channel. The eddies are created from the bottom as well as from the sides of the channel. Also remember, according to Kennedy's theory, eddies were generated only from the bottom. And this is a major difference between the two theories, Lacey's theory and Kennedy's theory. According to Kennedy, the eddies were generated only from the bottom, and according to Lacey, the eddies were generated from the wetted perimeter or from the bottom and the sides of the canal, from the sides and bottom of the channel. The next question is, slow setting cement will have a higher percentage of. Slow setting cement will have a higher percentage of gypsum. You know, gypsum is added to control the setting of cement. Also, it is mainly used to slow down the hydration process. And for quick setting cement, the gypsum content is reduced at the time of clinker grinding. For quick setting cement, the gypsum content is reduced. And for slow setting cement, the gypsum content is increased. Next question is the resultant sound pressure. The resultant sound pressure level of two sound sources, each having sound pressure level of 50 decibels is. Now, if you remember this formula, L equivalent is given by 10 log to 10 to the power L1 by 10 plus 10 to the power L2 by 10. Now, over here, L1 here is 50 dB and L2 is 50 dB as well. So, if we solve the equation, the answer would be 53.01 decibels. 53.01 decibels, and the nearest answer is 53 decibels, which is D. Also, if you don't remember this formula, you can remember this chart. If the difference between the two sound levels L1 and L2 is 0 or 3, then you can add 3 to the higher value. Also, if the difference is 2 or 3, then you have to add 2 to the higher value. If the difference is 4 to 8, then you should add 1 to the higher value. And if the difference is equal to more than 9, then you should not be adding anything. Now, let's take an example. If the L1 is 50 and L2 is 53, so the difference between the two sound levels is 3. So if the difference is 3, you should be adding 2 to the higher value. Here the higher value is 53, so you should be adding 2 to the higher value. The answer should come out to be as 55 decibels. So if you don't remember the L equivalent formula, then you can follow this chart and you would be easily solving the questions that would be asked. The next question is, in an earthen dam, the rheatic line is parabolic. You know the answer of this is parabolic. Now, this is an earthen dam and these are the flow lines. And the top flow line is known as the rheatic line. Also, orthogonal to the flow line is known as the equipotential lines. So the top flow line is known as the rheatic line. Also, this is very important. Pressure above rheatic line is atmospheric and pressure below the rheatic line is hydrostatic. And of course, the rheatic line is parabolic in shape. Next question is, the purpose of lateral ties in short RC column is to. The answer is to avoid buckling of longitudinal bars. Also, the other purposes of lateral ties are, to prevent buckling, for confinement of concrete, and to hold on to the longitudinal reinforcement in position, and to enhance the resistance against shear and torsion. So these are the four other purposes of lateral ties. Also, for lateral ties, the dia of lateral ties should be greater than equal to maximum of phi long max by 4 or 6 millimeter, whatever is maximum. And phi long max is the maximum dia of longitudinal reinforcement used. And the spacing between the lateral ties is given as less than equal to minimum of least lateral dimension, 16 times phi long minimum, or 300 millimeter, whichever is minimum out of these three. The next question is, rapid curing cutbacks are produced by dissolving straight run bitumen in. The answer is naphtha. For rapid curing bitumen. Now, cutback bitumens are of three types: rapid curing, medium curing, and slow curing. Now, in these rapid curing, medium curing, and slow curing, dilutants are added. To temporarily reduce the viscosity for ease of application. So these are the dilutants that are added. For rapid curing, gasoline and naphtha are added. For medium curing, kerosene or diesel oil is added. And for slow curing, gas oil is added. So any question from rapid curing or medium curing or slow curing, if you know this chart, you would be able to answer. Next question is, cyclonic precipitation is due to. The answer should be conflict between cold and warm air masses. Now, what is cyclonic precipitation? Cyclonic precipitation is caused by lifting of an air mass due to the pressure difference. and it is formed when two masses of air of different temperature, humidity and density meets. For example, meeting of warm tropical wind with polar air mass will result into cyclonic precipitation. So the answer is cyclonic precipitation is due to the conflict between cold and warm air masses. The next question is, in case of single angle in tension connected by one leg only, the net effective area as per Codal provision is. Now let's look into the diagram here. Now this is a single angle section connected to a gusset plate. Now the leg which is connected to the gusset plate is known as the connected leg, and the leg which is not connected to the gusset plate is known as the outstanding leg. Now the net effective area, let's take A1 as the net as a area of the connected leg, and let's take A2 as the area of the outstanding leg. Now the net effective area is given by A1 plus K times A2 plus K times A2. Now K here is the reduction factor for the outstanding leg part. K is the reduction factor. So the net effective area also K is given by 3 times A1 by 3A1 plus A2. So the net effective area is given by A1 plus K times A2, or 3A1 A2 by 3A1 plus A2. Now according to the question, A1 here is small a and A2 here is small b. A2 here is small ab. So replacing the values, A plus 3ab by 3a plus b. Now we just need to rearrange these values. A plus b, we are just putting 3a part, we are just putting 3a part here. We are just putting 3a part here. So the equation simplifies to become a plus b by 1 plus 0.33 b by a. A plus b by 3a by 3a is 1 and 0.33 b by a. So the answer, so the nearest answer for this particular question should be B. The answer should be B. A plus b by 1 plus 0.33 b by a. So the next question is, the Environment Protection Act came into existence in the year. The answer is 1986. The answer is 1986. Now, bond strength in an RC beam can be increased most economically by. The answer is by using thinner bars but more in number. Using thinner bars but more in number. Now, the other factors that influence the bond strength are: one, the grade of concrete; next, surface texture of reinforcement. Obviously, in case of plain and deformed bars, in deformed bars the bond strength would be more. Deformed bars, the bond strength would be more. Also, it depends upon the dia of bar. Also, more bars of smaller dia is preferable, because the surface area would be higher. The surface area would be higher, so the bond strength would also be higher. Also, it depends upon the nominal cover. So these are the factors which influence the bond strength. Next question, length to dia ratio. Length to dia ratio for cylindrical specimen of soil of triaxial shear test is normally. Now the length to diameter ratio is normally 2 is to 1. The length to dia ratio is 2 is to 1 or 2. So the answer for length to diameter ratio for cylindrical specimen of soil triaxial shear test is normally 2 is to 1. Next question, seepage pressure is expressed as. Seepage pressure is expressed as, again a direct question, Iz gamma W. Iz gamma W is the seepage pressure. Also, seepage pressure is the pressure exerted by water over soil solids. In the mass through which it percolates. Next question, the differential equation of one-dimensional consolidation is given by. The answer is del U by del T. The answer is del U by del T equal to Cv times del square U by del Z square. Also, the one-dimensional equation was obtained by Terzaghi, and where U is the excess pore pressure developed due to the applied effective stress, and del U by del T is the rate of change of pore pressure. Next question is, a tension crack usually forms in the soil nearer the top of the wall up to a depth Z given by. The answer is 2c by gamma root Ka. 2c by gamma root Ka, where K is the coefficient of active earth pressure, C is the cohesion, and gamma is the unit weight of soil. Also, for pure cohesive soil, where phi is 0, Ka is 1. So for pure cohesive soil, the equation modifies to 2c by gamma. Also, the critical depth of unsupported cut is given by 2 times Z0 or 4c by gamma root Ka. 2c by gamma root Ka. This came in the year 2016 paper. Next question is, the deformation of a spring under unit load is given by the deformation of a spring under unit load is given by flexibility. The deformation of a spring under unit load is given by flexibility. Now granite contains primarily, now the answer is granite contains primarily quartz and feldspar. Quartz and feldspar. Next question, intermediate vertical stiffeners are provided in the plate girder too. The answer is to eliminate web buckling. To eliminate web buckling. Now stiffeners are mainly provided to resist the section from buckling. To resist the section from buckling, it stiffens the web of plate girders. It stiffens the web of plate girders. Also, when should we use the stiffeners? Now, if the depth to the thickness of web ratio is less than 85, then no stiffeners are required. If the depth to the thickness of web is from 85 to 200, then only vertical stiffeners are provided to prevent the web buckling. And when the depth to thickness ratio is greater than 200, then horizontal stiffeners are also provided. So these are the things that you can keep in mind. These might be asked in the examinations as well. Next question, load safety factor for expressway may be. Load safety factor for expressways and national highways is 1.2. Also, the load safety factor for lesser important roads is 1.1, and for residential and other street roads it is taken as 1. Now load safety factor is taken into consideration to take care of the unpredicted heavy truck loads and the high volume of truck traffic. The axle load should be increased by multiplying with the load safety factor. Next question, the quicksand condition exists when hydraulic gradient exceeds. You all know the answer. The critical hydraulic gradient is given by G minus 1 by 1 plus E or G minus 1 into 1 minus N. So you know the answer for this. The next question, maximum distance between expansion joints in structures as per relevant code is given by. The answer is 45 meters. You can find this in the IS 456-2000 clause 27.2. Structures exceeding 45 meters in length are designed with one or more expansion joints. So this was the part 2 of a 4-part series of WBPSC Assistant Engineer Civil 2012 paper. I tried my best to solve each and every question with detailed solutions, with detailed answers. And if you like the video, do subscribe to my channel and share this with your friends who are preparing for civil engineering government jobs. So stay safe, all of you. Study hard but study smart, and thank you.